What would you think of a sneaky blockbuster deal with the White Sox to get Dylan Cease? Stacey, Dylan Cease. Let me go off and say,
you are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias, and with me, as always, is my producer, Steve Granado. Steve, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Stace. The last Fan Mail Friday episode before the trade deadline. I'm curious to see. Dun, 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 yeah. I'm curious to see what the difference in questions from this week to next week are. Because depending on how these next 6 games go, there could be a drastically different amount of questions / style of questions. So we'll see. We'll see. Thanks for joining the show here today. We have a preview of a very crucial series this coming weekend, starting tonight against the Baltimore Orioles. And, of course, over the next 6 games, Baltimore and Tampa. Crucial 6 games coming up here. And it doesn't get much easier. Houston after that. So it's not
the most brutal part of the schedule happening right now.
Oh, yeah. Put up or shut up time. Okay, we have a preview again, as we mentioned, of that series coming up this weekend. But first, Stacey, we have a bunch of questions to get to, ranging a wide variety. Of course, it's trade season, so we're going to start right there with our subtexters. If you want to skip the line to ask questions and get guaranteed answers to your questions, you can join Subtext. The episode description has information on that and what you get. There's a 14-day free trial. So let's go to one of our tried and true, one of our OGs, Stacey. Betty, giving us the big question here today, the one that we spend the most time on, asking us the other day, what would you think of a sneaky blockbuster deal with the White Sox to get Dylan Cease? Stacey, Dylan Cease. Let me go off and say, and I have said on this show, Dylan Cease is my favorite pitcher in baseball. And Dylan Cease has been one of my favorite pitchers since I saw him as a wee lad in short season ball as a member of the Chicago Cubs system before he was in the White Sox system. So any deal to get Dylan Cease, I'm on board. Here's the problem, Stacey. According to all those the MLB insiders and all the trade experts and everybody who's talking about it, it doesn't really look like Dylan Cease is particularly on the market.
Right.
So the White Sox obviously just made a massive deal of trading Lucas Giolito and Reynaldo Lopez to the Angels for Edgar Caro and Kai Busch, 2 of their top prospects in the system, and a steep price for sure for rentals. So for me, Stacey, that shows me that even if they're going to entertain a Cease deal, the price is really, really high. I'm talking Dominguez, Beater, Peraza. Your thoughts on a Dylan Cease trade scenario?
That's tough. I mean, I would love it too. You know, I'm bummed Giolito went to the Angels because I've been saying it all season that I'd love for the Yankees to have made sort of a deal to get Giolito. So I was very disappointed on Wednesday night, just totally bummed. Thinking of the package that they would need to give Chicago is, it's really tough because I feel like the Yankees are kind of screwing with Peraza a bit. You know, he should have been playing longer this season. And I feel like they're not giving him, or they hadn't given him enough of a chance. And I would hate to see him go like that after they made it a point to hold on to him. All that, we're just signing IKF because we know we have the shortstop of the infield of the future. And I feel like they're jerking him around. And for him to go like that would be kind of a bummer. But it's Dylan Cease.
Yeah.
On the other side, it's Dylan Cease.
Yeah, of course. And he has not had the same season this year. We all know that. But I think the difference here is the front office in Chicago sees Dylan Cease as someone that is going to lead that rotation now with Giolito gone. Giolito, of course, only had 2 months left, right? And so that made more sense to get rid of that. Same with Reynaldo Lopez. They're going, look, these guys might be tougher to sign. They're probably going to test free agency. At least Giolito would test it and test it well, considering how great he has been for years and how formidable he has been and strong and just not hurt all the time. He's been great in that department. So they are very obviously different trade type pieces here.
Yeah.
So you can't 1-to-1 them. But what you don't get out of performance this season in Cease, you make up for in team control, right? The longer contract. So Cease would be a boon to the Yankees, obviously. Is it a need that necessarily needs to be filled at this point? I don't really think so.
I don't think so either. I really don't. If something had happened with maybe Cortez and that he didn't recover fast enough or something was worse off with his shoulder, like if something like that was going on, I would see them making a deal like this. But there are other issues that this team has that they need to fix. And I feel like starting pitching, while it would be a great bonus, there are more pressing issues that this team has that need to be fixed by the trade deadline.
I agree. Thank you, Betty, for your question. You are awesome, and we love that you're a subtexter. We have another one from a subtexter here, Stacey. This is coming from Adam, one of our newcomers, asking us yesterday, as of now, who is your top 3 trusted relievers? Ron Marinaccio has fell off. King has been meh. Say Cole goes 6. Who gets 7, 8, 9? Stacey, do you have a dream 7, 8, 9 at this point?
Dream, but Ian Hamilton, I would assume Wandy, and then Clay Holmes.
That's amazing, Stacey. That's the exact same one I have.
Right? I mean, it's kind of logical at this point. King has been meh, but he picked it up a bit his last couple of outings. He's just having a strange-ish season, but the whole bullpen has been like that because they were so strong for so long and they had those couple of weeks where they were iffy, and the only one that really hasn't recovered seems to be Ron Marinaccio. So I would say Ian Hamilton, Wandy, Clay Holmes.
That's amazing. But the only difference I have is if you need a righty in the 8th, I go Canely.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
because I was thinking handedness also, and Canely, he recovered well. He looked good the other night against the Mets. So
yeah, that's amazing. That's the exact same one I had.
But definitely Ian Hamilton for the 7th. It's like those days when they had like Stanton and Nelson, and you went by the handedness, and then you had, like they had the setup man, they had the closer, that kind of a thing, and it feels similar to that now. So yeah,
it's almost like we talk about the Yankees every single day or something. Let us know down in the comments here on YouTube, what is your 7, 8, 9 if someone goes 6? We want to hear what you have to say about it down below here on the YouTube side. And thank you again to our subtexters. If you want guaranteed answers to your questions, either on the show or in text form, of course, like Betty, who gave us the question and is the whole basis for our story or for our episode today, you could do so by joining subtext if you want to have the utmost input on our show. All the episode description has is a bunch of info on that. All right, now to our YouTubers. We have one more here in our first segment, of course, a couple others later on. Stacey, this is coming from another newcomer. We've been getting a lot of newcomers here on the Fan Mail Friday front, so thank you guys. This is at Jonah Burks. What do your outfield alignments look like if the Yankees trade for Bellinger without trading any outfielders? I'd like to see Belly, Bader, and Stanton in the regular everyday lineup. I assume Judge will be DHing a lot when he returns. Stacey, the Yankees add Bellinger. Then what?
Yeah. I think we discussed this on yesterday's show, and I think it was that same order where he'd be in left, Bader be in center. You'd have Stanton play right because you were talking about how they're having him play right a lot because we're expecting Judge to DH more than play right field. It could be really good to have Bellinger and Bader out there because they both know how to play the outfield. No offense to some of the left fielders that the Yankees have had. And, I feel like Bader is such a good center fielder that the corner outfielders, like they really just have to worry about the corners, because Bader can really get to lots of places in the middle of the field. So I feel like that alignment that Jonah suggested would be my ideal, I would think.
Yeah, with Bowers taking over in right.
Yeah.
You obviously, Bellinger can play tons of center field if Bader needs a day off or if Bader needs to DH or whatever the case. And then, you have Judge in left. Yeah, there's adding a Bellinger would obviously do loads for the Yankees. It fills, as we mentioned, 2.5 needs. It gives you an outfielder, it gives you a left-handed bat, and it gives you a second first baseman, not named DJ LeMahieu.
Right.
So it's amazing how much sense it would make to add Cody Bellinger to the current Yankees roster. Of course, we had the whole conversation yesterday on whether it's worth going in on this team. And Stacey, the general consensus, by the way, in our comments, they went with you. They went with you. Yeah. Why was everybody so mad at me? Sheesh. So many negative comments about me. I was like, come on, guys. I'm just trying to have a nice little Thursday afternoon. I'm reading the comments and I feel bad about myself. Anyway, you just got to take a side sometimes. But hey, they went with Stacey. They didn't like my answer, but whatever.
We're so negative, Yankee fans. We really are. It's just terrible.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Thank you, Jonah Burke, so much for your question here on today's Fan Mail Friday. Of course, we have more. And again, Subtext is the place to be if you want to get one-on-one text conversations with Stacey and myself. And of course, every Friday is Fan Mail Friday here on Locked On Yankees. Coming up next, we got a couple more questions.
For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know that the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit is available only to U.S. customers, and only eligible items will apply to that, and also exclusions apply.
Back here on Locked On Yankees. Hey, we're going to talk about the Orioles series over the weekend here in just a little bit. And as a reminder, you can catch that entire series and the entire season, as a matter of fact, on Sirius XM. It ain't no joke. Coming up on Tuesday, by the way, Stacey, for the everydayers out there and for anybody who's still sticking around, hello. But
Hello.
big news. Trade deadline Tuesday, 5:15 Eastern. Be right here on our YouTube channel. Of course, it is linked in the episode description for our audio listeners. We are going live for the first time. We're going live. And we'll be giving you everything that's going on. Live reactions. We'll be answering a bunch of questions just like we do on Fan Mail Friday and stuff like that. So make sure to hit subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget, put it in your calendar, save it, set an alarm, all that stuff. If it's 5:15 Eastern on Tuesday, August 1st, Stacey and I are live on YouTube. So come hang out with us for the trade deadline. We will talk about everything going on. The landscape could be drastically different by the time we get there as well, depending on how the next couple of games go. So you're not going to want to miss it. Okay, a couple more questions here for today's Fan Mail Friday. This is a couple of newcomers. Again, Stacey, just new people popping in left and right. This is at Marathon Pat. Are the Yankees trying to fit a square peg in a round hole by keeping Volpe at short? Stacey, your thoughts on if Anthony Volpe is the right choice to be the Yankees shortstop, especially now considering that Oswald Peraza is on that 26-man roster?
Yeah. I feel like right now, yes, just because they have him there and he's been playing there all season. I feel like it would be weird if they suddenly said to him, hey, we're going to put you at second now. Have fun there. I don't think it's them trying to fit a square peg in a round hole at all. I've said it about 5,000 times on this show that I would envision in the future, maybe Peraza at short if they don't trade him away, Volpe at second. I think that it works better in that combination. But for right now, I think they just will keep him there. I think wouldn't it be weird if they just suddenly said, hey, we're going to stick you at second? Like if they did it every once in a while just to see how it works, maybe, but I don't think it would be a permanent thing yet. But Volpe's been fine. He's been fine so far. He's not making terrible miscues. He's made some good plays. I almost feel like when the rest of the defense is bad, like everyone kind of gets it. It's like an illness that hits the entire team. But, I don't sit there and cover my eyes when a ball is hit to Anthony Volpe. He's fine at shortstop right now.
Yeah, I think he's a pretty decent shortstop. I've had no qualms with him defensively. I've talked about that on numerous occasions as well here on this show. I've also said on numerous occasions on this show my thoughts about Oswald Peraza as a shortstop. I've talked about him 1,000 times. I love Oswald Peraza. I think he's an incredible glove, and I think we've seen that. Look at how well he's played at third and second since being added to the roster. His instincts are second to none. Mm-hmm. His first step is incredible. His backhand is good. His forehand is good. His footwork is great. He gets around the ball well. It doesn't matter where it's hit towards him, even remotely. He's going to get there. Yeah. And I love Oswald Peraza defensively. Again, it's no knock on Anthony Volpe. I think he's a very fine shortstop. And on pretty much every team, he's a shortstop. But when Oswald Peraza is there, I think Oswald's the better shortstop.
Yeah.
I
would agree. I agree with that. It's close,
so close,
and I agree with that. Yep. Yeah.
So close. You're not losing anything with Volpe at short. So, are they trying to fit a square peg in a round hole? I don't think so. We can talk about offense. But defense, I don't think that's what you're getting at here. Defensively, no. I think there is no issues with Volpe at short again. If Oswald Peraza doesn't exist, no one's going, should Volpe really be playing short right now?
Right.
No one's thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do appreciate your question, and thank you for joining the Fan Mail Friday Family Marathon, Pat. All right, Stacey, one more quick question here for the day. This is coming from XKillaX100. Has anybody ever asked Steve if he looked like José Trevino? Stacey, do I look like José Trevino? Hold on.
Pull a picture up.
Do I look like José Trevino?
Maybe like with that one picture of him smiling, maybe the smile a little bit, but
for our audio listeners, we pulled up a comparison of back in my playing days when I was very much clearly riding the bench. Trevino, catcher. Steve Granado, former catcher. So, I mean, look, I don't think I look not like José Trevino.
Right.
This is maybe the weirdest question of the year.
That's funny, though. That's funny. See, I'll never get a question like that. Has anyone told Stacey?
Does Stacey look like Aaron Judge? Yes. Close. Very, very close. Same traps. Just same no neck. Just same tree trunk shoulders.
I do have big shoulders. Yes. Thank you for pointing that out.
I mean, not Aaron Judge size. Let me know in the comments. Maybe be kind about it. I don't think Trevino's a bad looking guy by any stretch, but
no,
I wasn't thinking I look like him. I don't know. You know what I used to get a lot when I was like in high school, and I don't know if this is any truth. People said I look like George Lopez.
No.
I don't know why people said that.
No.
It's really weird.
I don't think you look like George Lopez.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because he was the only Mexican on TV. There
it was white people saying that to you. Wasn't it? Yeah.
There's the rub. All right. Well, say I look like I don't know. I was trying to think of someone attractive, but my mind just completely blanked. Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. I look like Ryan Reynolds. Duh.
Oh, and speaking of José Trevino, if you don't have Instagram, he posted on Thursday that his surgery went well, and the season didn't end the way he wanted it to, but to thank everyone for their well wishes, and that he'll be back. So that's
great. That's awesome. Yeah. Very happy that went well. And I wish him
because that's got to be scary with a wrist tear. Like when you hear,
Anything tear,
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Speaking of injuries, quickly, Stacey, we don't know if Aaron Judge is actually getting activated this weekend. What are your thoughts about that? A couple of days ago, you said it was too fast. Are you still in that camp?
I still think it's too fast. But if they're going to bring him up, I don't want him in the field.
Yeah.
I want him DHing. I don't want to see him in that field anywhere because I don't want any risk of him accidentally banging that toe into anything. I mean, I know a pitch could hit him in the toe. He could foul a ball off on his toe, but I think there's the risk is less if he's not playing the field. You know what I mean? I don't want to see him in the field anytime soon.
Oh, I think that's fair. We're going to take one more quick breather. When we come back, however, we need to talk about perhaps, the biggest series of the season when we come back. Back now here on Locked On Yankees, our final segment of the week, our final segment almost before the deadline. We only have a little bit more time before the deadline. And, of course, you can catch this weekend series on Sirius XM against the Baltimore Orioles with John and Susan. Stacey, this is a massive set, right? Like, this is huge.
Oh, yeah. It's huge because the Orioles are doing way better than anyone expected them to do this year. You know, they're in the lead now in the AL East. And up until Wednesday, when the Angels said, nope, Shohei Ohtani is not going anywhere, a lot of people were talking about the Orioles possibly being a team that could just give the Angels a bunch of prospects for Shohei Ohtani. And let me tell you, it felt like that Arson Judge tweet there for a few minutes for me when I was reading all this stuff about the Orioles possibly getting Shohei Ohtani. I was like, that's the last thing that the Yankees need in the division is Shohei Ohtani. So I was relieved when the Angels were like, nope, we're keeping him. And the Orioles were not getting him because that was like a nightmare for me for a good, I would say 14 hours.
Well, don't forget that because they didn't do that and that never happened, those prospects are still right there.
I know. And they're going to be, and they're going to, that team is going to be good because that's what people were expecting. They were expecting them to be good, maybe 2024, and then continue to keep getting better and better. And this is an early thing for them. And the season has just been weird. We've been saying it all year, like for a bunch of different teams, like either the teams that are really bad or the teams that are good. You weren't expecting some of those results. And the Orioles are definitely one of those teams. And good for them. Good for the fan base. They need this.
No, they
I don't like it as a rival, but you know.
Sure. Yeah. I still think they'll probably go out and try to get like a Lance Lynn or something to shore up the rotation.
Sure.
Because game
they
one,
do need rotation.
They need some rotation help. Grayson Rodriguez is going tonight against Garrett Cole. Rodriguez pitched well. He got sent back down after a sluggish start in the majors. I mean, he pitched really, really well in the International League last year. Went back down to Norfolk, pitched pretty well, came back up. This is just going to be his third start since coming back to the majors. So this Friday night matchup, Stacey, in my mind, is the one the Yankees have to win. They have to win with Cole on the mound here tonight.
And it's their kryptonite because, you know, Grayson Rodriguez is pitching a little better lately, but his ERA is above a 6. And we know how the Yankees offense loves to not do anything against guys who have ERAs above 6. So Cole's going to have to be really, really good.
And he has been.
Yes.
I still think still a top contender for the AL Cy Young at this point.
Sure.
So Cole tonight. Tomorrow, Clark gets the ball. He'll face Tyler Wells. That's going to be another good young matchup in that one. And then Sevy gets the ball in the finale on Sunday, which is, by the way, a evening game on Sunday against Dean Kramer. We've seen Kramer, we've seen Wells, I've seen Grayson Rodriguez a trillion times. So this is again a big series. And I think what's interesting about this upcoming schedule is, regardless, unless the Yankees go on an incredible tear and everyone else fails in the AL East, which, hey, math, still possible. But unless that happens, 2 of the 3 opponents that you're about to face over the next 3 series are going to be teams you're directly chasing down in the wild card.
Yeah.
Because you got, again, Baltimore this weekend, Tampa next week, and then Houston after that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy how potentially the fate of the Yankees season is in their hands.
It is. And Aaron Boone has been saying that this whole time. And it's just like every time he says it, I cringe just because they're not playing well. And it's just like, oh, great. Their fate is in their hands and they choose to play like this. Wonderful. So, oh, this is going to be, I'm worried about Friday's matchup. I really am. I'm worried that Cole might have a game where he's not Cole. Not that he's bad, but that he's not quite Garrett Cole, and it'll be just enough for the Orioles to beat them because, again, the kryptonite over a 6 ERA, the Yankees offense is like, great, we're not going to do anything against you. So this feels like one of those games for me. I know it is a big matchup because, you lose that first game with Cole. That makes the rest of the season. Well, yeah, but the rest of the series way more important.
I think just looking at the numbers, Cole's pitched pretty well at Camden. He's pitched well against the Orioles, but we've talked about it before. When you match up with the Orioles, those Orioles of the past are very different than the Orioles of the present. So, but he has pitched well at Camden. Kind of the top 10, 15. So it's not like this massive, like he's kind of like middling, but like still really good numbers, there. So that, yeah, it's absolutely massive. I'm going to go and, be the glass half full guy here. I think this is Garrett Cole's time to shine. He steps up in big moments, and this is going to be the moment where he steps up big. So that's what I'm anticipating here. I think he goes 7 strong, and takes advantage of, so let's face it, still very young hitters in Baltimore. True. Still a lot of young guys. Garrett Cole is probably the best ace in baseball that is currently on the mound. I'm going to go ahead and say that.
Wily veteran.
I mean, he knows what he's doing, man. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I bet you he goes with Higgy behind the plate, not Rortvedt. He's only had Rortvedt back there, I think, one time with in a battery mate. So probably Higgy, go tried and true, and you have to win Friday night. It's massive. So there's 4 games between now and by the time we hit the 6 p.m. deadline on Tuesday. Stacey, is there a record over these next 4 games that makes the Yankees sellers?
0-4.
0-4. You think they have to lose all 4? If they go 1-3, they're still in?
I think so. Yeah, because they're high. They're enough above 500 right now, and close enough to the wild card that a 1 I mean, honestly, they still would be buying at 0-4 if I know this team. I really don't think they're going to blow things up.
Well, I mean, the strategy might change a little bit.
Right.
It might not be like if they go 4-0, they're go, right?
Yeah.
It's all in.
Yeah. That's not happening. I feel a 2-2.
Because at that point they'd be 10 over 500.
Yeah, I feel a 2-2 coming on.
All right.
For some reason.
We'll see.
Yeah. Because the Rays have been falling off a bit. Like the Rays have been beaten by different teams. I mean, the Marlins kicked their butts the other day. They're like 2-8 in their last 10. They've fallen off a lot the last like month and a half.
Oh yeah.
To allow the Orioles to overtake them. The Orioles also had been having some issues lately. The Phillies beat them recently, and it's not, you're not facing the same teams that you faced in May and June. But also the Yankees aren't really the same team that they faced in May and June, because the Yankees did okay against the Rays and the Orioles. They may not have beaten them a lot, but they did okay against those 2 teams. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens this weekend, but I don't feel like it's going to be a total disaster. Am I being optimistic here? Yes, sort of.
Look at us, Locked On Yankees, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we'll see. Drop your predictions down below here on the YouTube side, of course, and be with us on Monday when we recap the entire series and get ready for the trade deadline. Again, the trade deadline, we're going live on YouTube, so make sure to hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. If you're on our audio side, jump on over. The link is in the show notes for that. Again, coming at Tuesday, 5:15 Eastern. We'll be going live at the trade deadline, regardless if the Yankees are buyers or sellers or do absolutely nothing. I almost feel like doing nothing is worse.
Yes. Yes.
We'll see. We'll talk about it on Tuesday. Of course, we'll talk about more Yankees baseball and how this weekend went on Monday. And that's going to just about do it for today's Locked On Yankees. I'm Steve Granado.
And I'm Stacey Gausulias. We will see you on Monday.